And today we're going to talk about a paint business starter kit. All the things that you're going to need to get your paint business started today. Because, you know, starting a paint business can be pretty fulfilling, and the profit margins are pretty big because it takes as little as 500 bucks to really get started, all the equipment that you'll need to get up and running. And also be on the lookout for another video where I'll show you guys how to get started for basically $0. All right, so before we get started, I want to say that if you're starting off small and you don't have a big budget, you don't really need to get this big paint sprayer. But if you are going to start off a business and you want to be as professional as possible, you're going to need a paint sprayer. So I'm going to go down this little list for you guys, and we're going to go through starting with number 1, an 8 to 12 inch ladder. Now, if you're starting with exterior houses, you're definitely going to want an 8 to 12 inch ladder. This ladder here, I have some 6 and 8 foots up here, as well as an extension ladder that extends up to 24 feet. But that's because I'm doing mostly exteriors. Now, if you're just now getting started, a 4-footer and a 2-footer would be great, because mostly you're going to be doing is interior jobs, and that'll totally be sufficient for those. The next thing on the list in starting a paint business on our checklist here is roller handles. And by roller handles, we're talking about these things here. Now, I have several, but I pulled out the ones that I use the most. You want to get a 9-inch roller pad. See here, it's a 9-inch, and this is a 3/4 nap. This is a pretty versatile nap for this roller here, but you want to have a big roller like this for big areas, big areas, big surfaces. Next, you want to have a 6-inch roller. This is a small 6-inch. We call it a weenie roller where I come from, but this is good for using on fascia boards or even small, hard to get to areas where you don't need this, because sometimes this will apply too much paint, but you still want to cover a larger surface, so you use something smaller like this. Now, next on our roller handle is the other weenie roller. This is a 4-inch roller. This is used in the same fashion as this, but even tighter spots, and it's easier to kind of keep this in a 2-gallon bucket with a brush at the same time, whereas this takes up a little more space and can kind of cause you some issues. Number 3 on the checklist is a 5-gallon bucket and a 2.5-gallon bucket. So here we have a 5-gallon bucket. Cool thing is, you could get these for free. You buy the paint, you pretty much got a free bucket. That's kind of how that works. But you could pick them up at Home Depot or Lowe's. Typically a 5-gallon bucket will cost you anywhere from $3 to $5, depending on where you live. Next on this bucket list here is a 2.5-gallon bucket. Now, this is the type of bucket that you use for these types of tools here. You have a little screen that goes in the bucket, and what you do is you dunk it. Instead of using like a roller tray, this is the way I like to do it. You dunk it in the paint and you rub it on the screen until it's, you know, ready to drip but not dripping. That's a good way to know how to load these up. 5-gallon bucket, same case for the bigger roller. The bigger roller here goes in the 5-gallon bucket. I think that's pretty much self-explanatory as far as that goes. Another thing that I like to have with me, now you don't have to have it and it's not exactly necessary, but this is called a Pelican. And basically this is like a 1-gallon kind of trim bucket. Now if you're going around maybe doing touch-ups and stuff, this is like the perfect thing to have. But you could also just use an empty paint. So when you buy paint, it'll come in a 1-gallon bucket, and you could just go ahead and reuse that bucket, recycle, you know, reduce and reuse, guys. But this is pretty handy. It's called a Pelican. It's a Worcester brand. I'll leave a link in the description below for you guys. So after you got all this stuff loaded up, the next thing you want to do is you want to have some high quality brushes. Now, basically if you're getting started out, you need 2 types of brushes. Now, one brush will be the trim brush here. This is a soft brush. It's a 2.5, 3-inch. I think it's a 3-inch brush here with a soft XL Glide Purdy. And this is what I like to use on my trim because it's really soft and supple, and that allows you to get a nice fine finish. Now this brush here is a Worcester. This brush here is a Worcester Pro Dumont Chinex. Now this is a little bit stiffer. This is something that we use more so like on walls, kind of an all-purpose brush. You could use it on a fence, exterior, whatever, but you want to have a good stiff brush to push paint around on walls and ceilings, etc. And then you want to have a nice, supple, soft bristle brush to do your trim and doors and etc. Now, if you guys watch my videos, you know I always say keep a duster. And by duster, I mean just an old paintbrush or you know, something that'll fit in your back pocket that you can easily carry around with you, because before taping these duster, it's nice to dust stuff off. It really helps the paint adhere to the surface that you're trying to tape. I like to keep a putty knife, and this is just like an all-purpose kind of general tool that I keep with me at all times. It could be used as a screwdriver, it could be used as a scraper, it could be used as a, well, putty knife. I mean, this is just a really good tool to keep in your back pocket, because at any given moment in the day, you're gonna need a little tool, and sometimes this will suffice. I mean, you could use the end of it to hammer in nails. I mean, the uses for this are really, if you get really creative, if you have this on you, you can make it happen. Next in the putty knife genre, here is a 5-in-1. Now 5-in-1 is good for picking out old paint. You know, this is a good scraper. On the end here it says 5-in-1 because here, you know, you could open paint buckets or get inside behind loose and peeling or cracking paint. This will allow you to scrape it off. This rounded area here is a way to clean out your rollers. So when you're done with your rollers, what you do is you scrape it down like in this fashion, and what it does is it saves you money on paint, because in the long run this holds quite a bit of paint, and if you could use this tool to scrape that out and get it back into your bucket, then you're saving some money on paint. So that's 1, 2, 3. Oh, also you could use it as a screwdriver. That's 4. And then this is also a way to open up paint cans, you know, when you first buy the paint cans. So if we're moving on right down the list, and the next thing on the list is caulking gun. Now this is a dripless caulking gun, it says right there. There's some mixed reviews on what it means to be dripless, but what I like to keep in mind is for these ratcheting ones, because these ratcheting ones here, they kind of allow you to caulk using one hand, because when you press it in, it kind of releases a little bit. That way there's not constant pressure on the contents of the tube, and then it'll drip out the end there. So make sure you get you a nice one. And, you know, this is probably like an $8 caulking gun. Stay away from the $1.99, $2 ones, because it's just going to cause you a headache in the long run. And I just want to make this list for you guys to make it as simple and easy and painless as possible. So number 7 on the list is a masking gun. I have 2 masking guns. Now this masking gun here is, this allows you to quickly mask off areas with paper that'll need paper. It's a pain in the butt to try to do it by your hand, and I see people use newspaper and stuff, but this is the best, fastest alternative. I'll leave a link in the description below to this. This here is the same type of gun. However, this is for running plastic. This is 9-foot plastic on here, and I run an 1.5 inch tape on this. And you buy this little attachment here, and what it is a longer blade, and then it stabilizes the plastic. This is, I mean, major time savers. And when we're talking painting, that's pretty much the main thing you want to do, is you want to do a quality job, but at the same time you need to figure out ways to save time, because painting takes time, and that's just the way it goes. This is a great way to, I mean, these 2 tools right here will save you hours and hours of time trying to fumble around with newspaper. Next thing on the list, I don't think I have it out ready for you guys, but it's just a wire brush. Because when you're painting, especially in the summertime, when you're painting with these brushes, you use a wire brush to scrape off the drying paint off the bristles, and that's how I clean my brushes. Next on the list, we're gonna go to number 10. Number 10 is sheets of sandpaper. So you always want to have sandpaper with you, and that way you can sand down any kind of blemishes. Now, you don't just want one type of sandpaper. You want to go through and have different. Now, this is most of the packaging will have it on the back here, but you start off with 40, which I've never actually used. 60 even is a bit rougher than I have ever really needed to use, but a good rule of thumb is, you know, just maybe buy a multi-pack, and you never jump up more than half. So, you know, 100 to 220, you might want to use the 150 in between, because this is more than half, and that's a good rule of thumb. So here I got, you know, a 220, which would be fine scuffing, so this would be just before paint. This is light surface prep at a 150, you know, it smooths out wood, drywall, fiberglass, and metal. This is 100, and this is like medium smooth. It kind of knocks stuff down, knocks it out. And this is 60. This is straight removal. You just got to get the rust or loose paint or whatever off. So always start with the 60 if the surface is really bad and really in need of sanding, and then work your way up 60 to 100, 100 to 150, and then finally finish it off with the 220 prior to painting and priming. So next on the list, extension poles. Yeah, so extension poles here. I have 2 separate kinds. These are really helpful. You could always use a broomstick if you're trying to keep your budget low, but this is a 2 to 4 foot extending pole. And what you do is you add this onto your handles. That way you get a further reach, and you know, you save, it's less fatigue. This is 4 to 8, starts off at 4 and goes to 8. But if you're, like I said, if you're doing interiors, more than likely you'll need the 2 to 4 mostly, like if you're starting off with, say, kitchens or bathrooms. So now we're gonna move right along to the next thing on the list, and that's an airless paint sprayer. Now, And airless paint sprayers can be expensive, but there are inexpensive options. If you go to Home Depot, they have one of these things that costs about $300, and that's not a bad pump to get started. However, if you're trying to paint a lot of houses, I wouldn't recommend getting that. If you have a lot of jobs already lined up, I would not start with that. I would go into a paint store and talk to them about a high quality, high production pump. This is a $595 PC Pro. I believe I paid about $1,500 for this, but don't freak out. If you're trying to start a paint business, you could rent these babies for about $40 to $50 a day, and that's a 24-hour day. So if you get creative, you know, you could get some use out of it for 40 bucks and maybe even get the entire body of a house sprayed or the entire ceiling of a house sprayed, or, you know, the trim or whatever, all the surfaces that need to be sprayed. But I'll make a video that goes into detail about how to get the bigger equipment that you will need to, say, paint an exterior house for free. So start a painting business for free sounds crazy, but I'll walk you guys through it in a different video. And once you got your sprayer, you're gonna need some accessories, and that's different tips. Now, let's say you do have a sprayer. You want a production tip. Here, it's a 517, and then you want like a fine finish. This is an X-Rack fine finish, low pressure tip, and a Graco Rack X tip. I have two different housings, but you wanna have two different tips, one production tip, one trim tip. Now we're closing in on the list here. The last thing on the list is you wanna have some way to cover up the floors and maybe like furniture. So carry some plastic with you. You could use the plastic that we discussed earlier on the masking gun there, but I like to just keep a big roll of plastic handy, and that allows you to cover up anything that you don't wanna get paint on, as well as some canvas drops. These can be a bit pricey, so if you're just getting started out, maybe just buy you one and reuse it over and over and over, pull it along with you and do small sections at a time. For me, I have a whole truckload of these, and I can lay them all out throughout an entire job and make a huge mess. But if you're just getting started out, I started out with a bucket, a roller, one brush, a ladder, and one drop. And you guys can do it too. Final couple things. So the final couple things on the list, of course, seems kind of redundant to explain it, but you know, it's a small toolbox because you want to keep like screwdrivers, you want to keep your putty knives, maybe a few wrenches, especially if you're working on a airless paint spray. You're going to want to have a couple of wrenches with you in case you run into any issues like that. So a small paintbrush, and then also a vehicle. If you don't have a vehicle, rent, borrow, don't steal. You know, ask around, somebody can help you out, maybe you can get a ride there. But most of this equipment can fit in the trunk of a car, so even if you have a trunk of a car, you can start a paint business today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really hope it helps you out. I'll see you guys in the next one.